Hi folks, and welcome to setting up your Tableau Public MCP server. In this video, we'll go through installing the code, getting MCP server up and running, and connecting it to Claude and VS Code. Okay, for the first steps, you'll want to come to a repository. A link will be in the description. You want to come to the green code button. If you have the GitHub CLI or know the Git commands, you can do the clone of the repository here using these commands. If you have GitHub Desktop, you can open it there. Or you can just download a zip folder of actual code itself and extract that on your machine. Okay, so I've got my code, I've got it downloaded to my machine, unzipped and ready to go. So I'm going to go and open up VS Code. I'm going to go and navigate to this folder. So I'm in VS Code, I'm going to do File, I'm going to navigate to this folder and select that folder. To get this installed, we're going to need to look at the README. So I'm going to open that. Now it comes through as Markdown here, but if you right click and go open preview, you can open it as you would see it on GitHub. We've done these first steps of getting the repository on our machine. We're going to do this next step of npm install and then npm run build. Okay, for the next steps in this, you're going to have Node.js installed to run commands like npm install. To do that, I recommend coming to the Node.js download page. Here you'll be able to install Node.js. I recommend using one that's pre-built for your machine, so either Windows or you can change this to Mac, Linux, whatever you want, and then have the relevant installer installed for you. First things, I'm going to run npm install. That's going to install the packages for this project. You might see this, so you might see some vulnerabilities addressed. You can fix these with npm audit fix. So let's do that. Okay, so we've brought together all the different modules. You'll see a folder open up here for node modules. Those will be your packages that have been installed. Now we're going to run npm run build. What that is going to do is going to create this folder called build. In here will be our index.js. This is going to be our file to actually go and run the MCP server in our applications. Okay, so we've set up and installed Tableau Public MCP on our local machine. Now we need to go to our application. So I'm going to start off with Claude. Claude Desktop is a really good tool for seeing how the MCP server works, seeing how the tools work. Generally a good application for building other things or connecting to other MCP servers too. Okay, if you don't have Claude Desktop on your machine, come over to the claude.com download page and pick your particular machine and get that set up and installed on your machine. Okay, so here I am in Claude Desktop. You can always check what MCP servers you have available using the plus icon and come here down to connectors and then into this area here. So you can see I don't have the MCP server set up here. So we're going to need to go and change that. If I go over to top left into File, into Settings, I want to come down to Developer and I want to Local MCP Servers. I'm going to want to edit the configuration for this. So this will open up the window of where Claude is saving data on my machine. I have this Claude Desktop config file, which I'm going to open up in VS Code. So if you have the window open earlier from installing MCP, this should open up in the same place. In the README, it will have the code that you need for this configuration. Preview.readme, this is our section here. I'll paste this in here, so this will pick Tableau Public MCP. This is the one we need to get correct. So this is the path of how to find your MCP service, and importantly, that index.js that we built in the npm run build stage. This section here will need to be updated for your particular file path, and you will need to have these slashes as forward slashes. So I can take the link here, place that in here, and then change these over to forward slashes. And I'm going to go and save that. If I jump back to Claude, nothing has happened. What you will need to do is to quit out of Claude. If you are on Mac, you'll need to force quit. If you are on Windows, you'll need to go into an icon in the bottom right-hand side and make sure you quit out of Claude. Or you could use the task manager to force quit Claude. What I found on Windows is when you close Claude, it will still be running in the background. So you want to make sure that it's closed permanently and reopen it. Now I'm going to go and open up Claude again. Now, if I open up Claude, I should be able to go into connectors and see Tableau Public here. I can go into manage connectors as well. When I come down here to Tableau Public, I can go into configure, and this will show me the tools and the tool permissions for this. So by default, I believe they're set to needs approval. You can see what tools you have available. So if you find you're having to collect needs approval, you can always change that over to always allow. And so to test it works, what I do is I come here, I turn off web search. I just make sure I have the MCP tool set up, and I'll ask it something like about my Tableau Public portfolio. Note there, I'm giving it my username so it can find my portfolio. So that you can see what it's done is identified to use the tools. It's going to run my tools, so it's looked for my username, and it's gone back and has found my portfolio and run that tool. Now it's listing the workbooks. So Claude has reviewed my profile. It's done some work on like what the strengths are of it, but also some suggestions, some enhancements. And yes, I probably should have added some descriptions to more of those vizzes. There you go. So the MCP tools are working in Claude Desktop. Okay, to get this set up in VS Code, we're going to need to do a couple of things. If I go into settings with Control-Shift-P, and then look into settings, in particular chat settings, go into here. I can also search for MCP. Need to make sure that this option here is ticked, so it's able to find MCP servers. Then you'll want to go into settings again, Control-Shift-P, type in MCP, in particular add server. We'll do the command, so the studio runs locally, manual install, click that. So enter a command to run, so we'll be using the node command here, so enter node, enter that. What do you want to call your MCP server? So maybe Tableau Public, enter that. I want this to run globally, so it can run in all workspaces. Now we get this code come up. So it's nearly there. We just need to fill in that argument for our path to the MCP server. So we can take this from the README here. Now you just need to finish off this path, which you can change here. So C here, I can copy this over. Importantly, I will need to change these slashes here to forward slashes. Save that. So if you get something pop up like this that's saying it's running or to start the server, press play to start the server, that's a really good result. Next, you want to configure the agent side. This uses GitHub Copilot. It's free to start, so you can just get started playing around with the tools. If you come over to this icon up here, this little chat window, this opens up a chat window here to build with an agent. So I've opened up the agent window. You may get it just in the side panel. I've pressed this option here to make it full screen just so it's easier for you to see what's going on. Now here is the one we want to configure, so you configure our MCP tools. So what you will see is by default that all the tools are enabled, so all the built-in tools, and if you scroll down you can hopefully see your Tableau Public MCP server there. For this demo, I'm just going to untick all the other tools. I just want to make sure that this tool is working and we can see all the related tools in here as well. Now with this, from testing, you will want to pick a particularly modern model to use this MCP server just so it understands how to do the tool commands. So instead of auto, I would change this over to GPT 4.1. And so I will give it a standard prompt to go and review my Tableau Public portfolio. Okay, so you should get this option for the tool call coming up. It will ask you for permission to go and do this. Hit allow. You can always do always allow in this session. Always allow. So one thing to note here is that we did get a tool call fail. One of the benefits of MCP is that it can rerun the tool calls with the error message. So here the issue was it was trying to do visibility as visible, but what it needs to do is use the not hidden parameter. I was able to run and able to get back some details of my portfolio and my workbooks that I have there, strengths and some suggestions as well. Okay, so that was setting up Tableau Public MCP for Claude and VS Code. I will have links to some examples with prompts that you can go and use to test out this functionality for yourselves.